me chill out. I was doing the most. All right, look, we're gonna start like my channel. We in for another good video today. Um, as you can tell by the title, this is gonna be a describing, talking about heaven and hell, understanding heaven and hell. Sorry if I don't have the energy like I'm supposed to, because I'm just trying to get this situated real quick. This might not even be a long video or nothing like that, but um, understanding the basis of what these things actually are and the energy of them, so people don't be lost or confused or not really spiritually consciously knowing what these things are and what they're referring to. So like I said, the title of this video is Heaven and Hell. So when we talk about heaven and hell, understanding that there is such thing as heaven and hell, but at the same time, it's not. Like overall, there's not really such thing as heaven and hell, but in so many words, you could say there is at the same time. But hell isn't a distinctive place in the sense of something that people go to torment, but in so many words, there are truths to it, because any thought or feeling that you could have exists to some extent for you to even have that idea or imagination. But it's not what we do, it's how we do it. So the context may differ. How you see that may be different than what it actually is in totality, but it may carry certain energy centers. So let's go into it. Like I said, when we looking at heaven and hell, understanding what is heaven, what is hell. Heaven and hell ultimately is your life circumstances, situations, because no matter what reality you in, lower or higher, dense or less dense, heavier or lighter, you can still have a person in each of those who's living a life on a broader scale, on a better, higher scale of doing of life, that's a more pleasurable a situation and scenario in their life. And you can have somebody who is in a situation in that same bubble that is, circumstances, are experiencing more miserable, or misery, or trial and tribulation. You see what I'm saying? Or going through, or depression, or sadness, or not getting their way. And that's how it plays out in any realm of reality. I don't care if it's the lowest depths or the highest depths. So this is why I say hell and heaven don't really exist in the context and terms that people look at it as, oh, this is the ultimate place of damnation and destruction. That every single spirit and person and being and living being in that world is all in torment. And then in another end, and there's a place called heaven where every single being and living being that's in there is in heaven. That's don't work like that. Heaven and hell are energy centers, right? And ultimately they're just the state of being that you're in. So like I said, you got a person born into a more positive life where they have less things to worry about. Now we in the lower vibration world right now. So you could look at this ultimately as hell. But before I get into that perception and equilibrium, you want to understand that even just down here, you can have somebody born into a positive family, a prosperous family, that they get receive help. They manifest a lot of friends, like genuine friends, and that'd be hard to come across nowadays. But on a percentage level, it could be more people that actually do care about them for them. They can manifest more healthy, wholesome relationships. They get more, they manifest more the opposite sex in their life. They may have a healthy sex life. They may be in a situation where they have enough fun and freedom in their life and entertainment that they can enjoy themselves and the things that they truly love to do. They can be in a situation where they have enough physical currency, aka money, to enjoy themselves and not need others as much. You see, that's a person who they gonna still deal with their ups and downs, because nothing is perfect. The reality in can't be perfect, but on a percentage level, they're managing out enough positivity and they're not dealing with as much negatively, so they don't have to deal with the most negative things as much as opposed to a person, let's say the opposite, that's born into a holistic family, family members that don't even really care about them for them. They just born into that life, but them people not don't really even treat them like real family. They're not even real family spiritually. They don't really care about them like that. They don't have their best interests. They probably got a lot of energies that actually work against that person's favor, and the things that they into stop that person from reaching their fullest potential. And these people got negative, secret, ulterior motives against them, that they want to hold up their dreams and goals in so many ways and shapes and forms. And their ideologies and ways of doing things and thoughts and feelings don't even resonate with that individual family members. So that family member don't even got a shoulder to lean on. That family member, say that person don't even manifest having genuine friends or people in their life that care about them externally, outside of the family. Say they don't manifest a lot of healthy, wholesome relationships, if any at all. Say they don't have a healthy sex life. Say they're in a situation where they're born in a situation where even when it comes to physical currency and their own ability to make money, even despite all of that, the least you could do in that situation, as bad as it is, at least have your own physical money where you still be feeling lonely. You still can take these, but you still can take trips. And even though while you're taking trips and then travel and enjoying yourself, you still can look to your shoulder and feel lonely because you feel like, man, I ain't got nobody that's really there for me. You still be in a situation you can still do something, enjoy, and spend your money lavishly for yourself. And that could lead into things that you can still pay for and have enough physical currency to still enhance yourself and your physical self and evolve in your spirit. That might even lead to you being around better person and things. But if you got all that holistic life and you don't even have that, you don't even got enough physical money to live your own self, despite even because you're going to be lonely anyway, but if you ain't even got enough physical currency to at least do for yourself and experience and live your own life and enjoy a little bit on your own, hell no, that's not even life worth living. I don't give a hell about laws and all that shit. I'm going to tell your ass straight up spiritually. That ain't no life worth living. Now, you take that information, what you want to do with it. I ain't telling you to do anything yourself, but I'm also keep it real with you, too. I ain't going to sugarcoat just because of some government or some religion tell y'all when the same people that created that shit is what's the reason y'all don't got power like y'all supposed to in the first place. But that's another video. And you know what I got going on because your spirit feel it. So regardless of what you try to logically make and rationalize with your own brain and what makes sense to you or what you was told and already know, you know deep down spiritually the stuff that I'm saying resonates in some shape or form. But back to being on point, because that's not even the point right now. Understanding that. So that's what I mean when I say heaven and hell. Heaven and hell ultimately is your situational experience, your individual, and basically the state of being that you in, the state of your overall life. Does it go more so percentage level into your favor, or does it go more percentage level of you being in trial, tribulation, and misery? That lets you know if you in hell or not. That's why a lot of y'all ancestors pass on. A lot of people when they die, you know if they more so in the heaven or hellistic circumstance situation based upon the way that they make you feel. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes they actually be in a better place and they pass on. But here's the other thing I want to talk about, because when I talked about heaven and hell is individually your circumstance, situation you in, but at the same time, there is truth as far as overall worlds that can be looked at as more heavenly and overall worlds that are looked at as more holistic. But I'm just saying, don't get lost in the thinking that those that like how we in the holistic realm of reality right now, right? We in the lower vibration realm of reality. So overall, this is more holistic in nature. You could call this hell to an extent. I'm just saying, don't get lost in the looking at it like everything here is hell, because there's still positives here. There's still people here that are living a positive lifestyle or a better life on the average. And then you got poor people and people that's maybe going through holistic misery, that going through holistic situations and circumstances. Shout out to Luke Kidnor. Shout out to you, man. Much love. Thank you for being here. So don't get lost into that, but understand that there is such thing as the world that you in being more so on the holistic end or more so on the heavily end. Now, like I said, this world that we in is more heavier, it is more lower vibrational, it is more dense, it is more heavier. So this is more correlated to what you would consider hell, but you can still have prosperity in this world. The same way how the Sheol that y'all look at that's lower than this world is just a more broader version of what this world is. You see what I'm saying? So you got beings and Baal and deities and Satans and Baphomets that rule that space, and all kind of other energies that they rule that space, and they got more power than you, because you can ascend below and above. It's you can ascend through the lower portion of the astral realm, which I talked about before, and you can ascend through the higher version of the astral realm, the more heavenly, lighter realms, or you can ascend through the lower ones, like I just said. Those are the more denser ones. So we would look at it, the more denser ones. You can look at that overall as hell or holistic energies, but These beings still have more energy and access than you. They can do more stuff than you. They just live in a heavier vibrational world, as opposed to the beings that live actually above the horizon and know in that spiritual world, they actually ascending higher and less dense. So one was ascending heavier, they still ascending though, because there's more accumulation, and then one was ascending lighter into a lighter world. So that lighter world we could look at as heaven because it's less physicality, it's less dense, it's more what you would call pleasurable natures and states of beings. So you don't have to worry as much. It's not as much thought. It's not as much emotion and feeling that's heavy that weigh you down. There is thinking and thoughts there and there's feelings, but they're not the ones that hold you down. And the way that you think there isn't so heavy either. Because the way we think now and analyze, we may not know it, but that's ruled by Mercury, and that's like a heavy nature on its own. That's why to think, it take up energy. That's why if you think too much, you can't even think too much and be free here. You got all kind of contraptions, and if you think too much, you give yourself a headache, and the brain only takes so much, and it's too analytical, and it's like a lot of energy you gotta put in just to think in some reality. But in that room reality, you don't play it like that. It's much lighter. You see what I'm saying? It's not so constricted. Like a lot of stuff we think about is stuff that we be receiving thoughts and feelings through telepathy down here. And we do that in many different realities, but in that reality, we're more individuals, so we actually can produce our own thoughts. But that's another video. I'm getting too ahead of y'all. I'm just trying to give y'all understandings of different worlds and perceptions, how there's truth to everything. Heaven and hell don't exist, but heaven and hell exist in so many different shapes and forms. But heaven and hell at its ultimately in totality is just a state of being that a person is in the life circumstance that they manifest for themselves. One person can manifest a holistic lifestyle. One person can manifest a more heavenly lifestyle, a lifestyle that go more in their favor, that's more positive, that's more spiritually rejuvenating. You see what I'm saying? And one can be like in damnation and trial and tribulation and misery on a percentage level. But I want to say that there also is such thing as when you say like there's overall worlds that low key is more heavenly than lower vibrational worlds. Like we live in the lower vibrational worlds, and this world's heavier than this. But don't get lost in the thinking that those lower vibrational worlds, even though they are more like hell, you could call them hell from a energetic standpoint. They're more so in a holistic nature. Don't think that you still can't be prosperous in these things, and that there's no positivity in these things, because these things, and neither one of these things are good and bad. Is what I'm saying, and vice versa. You see what I'm saying? So that's how that play out. So that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna lie to you, but just know when we look at hell in totality, as far as worlds and heavy vibration and lower vibrational worlds versus higher vibration and lighter worlds, the deeper in the rainbow waters, those worlds are the ones that are more considered hell, because they more so deal with heavier vibrations and heavier natures. Like Earth itself is in the heavier portion of the rainbow waters, which the rainbow waters is like the astral realm. We're deeper in the astral realm, like heavier in the astral realm. We're in a portion of the astral realm that's dealing with more heavier energies, heavier vibrations. Well, what you call as heaven in totality will be worlds that are in the lighter version of the astral realm, aka lighter in the waters, lighter in the rainbow waters. You see what I'm saying? Kind of look at it like our ocean pool now. That's why the Bible talk about the first heaven, second heaven, the third heaven, and all these three waters. Like when you look at the first one, look at the world we in now. When you look at the ocean, right? The beans and dolphins and everything that's at the top of the water, they're still in the water, don't get me wrong, but they're in the lighter version of it. So they receive a little bit more light. And then look at the ones that are deep, deep, deep down. The deeper you go, the more heavier the current, to the point where submarines can't even go down there to an extent without they shit caving in because of how pressure and how heavy it is. You see what I'm saying? Now the beings that are down there have equipped and manifested bodies that can handle those currents. So it may not be looked at as hell to them. The natural vibration they in itself is in more of a holistic nature. They just are sustaining it. It can be prosperous or live or thrive down there to some shape or form. You see what I'm saying? Whereas when you look at the beings that's closer to the top, the surface of the level, they more in the higher nature. They dealing with more higher natures, brighter natures, and then you can get fully out of that. And then once you fully get out of the ocean period, you be fresh air. It'd be so light that you become a land animal. That would be like catching a breath of fresh air. You see what I'm saying? Where you're not even in heavy waters at all, period. But I'm just giving y'all understandings of etymologies of different things. So that's pretty much it. That's heaven and hell in totality. Heaven and hell is a state of being in your life circumstance, your life. Some people have a holistic life, some people have positive lives. Now there is such thing again, like I said, as far as different worlds. Certain worlds vibrate more so on a lower vibration, so we look at these as more so holistic realms. Certain worlds vibrate on higher vibrations and lighter densities, And we look at those as more heavenly realms. And that is true. Just don't get lost in the thinking that you can experience heaven and hell in either one of those. But on the percentage level of these worlds, they play out like that. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, I hope you get what I'm saying. If you have any questions, hit me in the chat box, comment section. Much love to y'all, bro. I'll have a great day. Peace.